how it is now, that most people tended to lean towards that. They may not totally immerse themselves in a traditional view, but they have a lot of things that would be rooted in it. And I think that's the problem, is that so much of the media that's out there is open and proud of those things.
Yeah, so I disagree. I think it's a cop out to say it's like women being influenced by things. I think women are doing what they want to do.
They
And
got that
I
perspective from
don't,
somewhere.
and I could tell you this because I've actually done this, I've done the long conversations with women. I've done the
Okay.
sit downs, I've interviewed 1,000. And there was women I would take back like after the show, and I would think, oh, the wheels are turning with this girl. Let me sit down and explain this stuff, and and I would do really long one-on-one conversations. It's actually what blew my channel up.
Hmm.
And they did the same thing. There's one girl that fucked the
Okay.
bouncer right
And then,
after. You know what I
and
mean?
also,
So
I'm gonna
yeah.
push back about something that you said earlier, Kiana.
Mhm.
You said that if
Sure.
there's something that can be done, it should be done. Like you said, if there's something that can be done, do it. And that's the big, because I always say nothing is more important to modern women than their own selfish desires, not their kids, not family, not country, not God, anything, right? And
Mhm.
modern women, they're staring in the face what they should do to make things better, but they're not doing it, and you can't make them do it. You can't.
Okay,
Men,
that's understandable. It's not about making them do it. And see that maybe I portrayed that as like it's our job to make them do it, but it's just kind of like I know a lot of people aren't Christians and don't believe in God and things like that, but you plant the seed. Is you might not even be, if something were to happen to you, you may not even be able.
Mike Campbell here, Patriot Software's founder. I have a huge respect for small business owners, especially the smallest of small businesses. They do so much. They're under so much pressure and stress. They have to be experts in business specialties like payroll taxes, bookkeeping, and accounting. It's crazy. That's why we created Patriot Software, to make accounting and payroll simple for all size businesses, especially smaller businesses. Check us out at patriotsoftware.com.
To figure that out with
Right.
how they process things and
People
what
pick
they
the
want to
seeds
do.
they want.
Sure.
That's
And
how
it may
women
not
get
be
to get
every.
out of. That's how women keep like fooling you guys with the OnlyFans hoes being Christian speakers, because they like
Well, they shouldn't be
people.
doing that anyway. If you're saying like Nala, she
People.
shouldn't be doing that anyway. She hasn't even lived the lifestyle to
Yeah.
truly know whether or not she should
I
be
know. I
doing
know. But
that.
wait. So I think people pick the seeds they want to pick. So I don't think it like I think if somebody wants to lose weight, then they'll go out
Mhm.
and find the influencer, the information that'll help them lose weight because they're serious about it.
Mhm.
I am not in control of the trends. And I can have hope for my future, but
Mhm.
I don't see any evidence that the media and these conversations are doing any of the things you're saying. Like, I don't see any evidence they're planting any seeds because the birth rate's going down, the marriage rate's going down, the age of first marriage is going up. There's no data or even trends that indicate that's the way it's going.
Well, you can still. I've been watching you for a very, very long time. I don't know how long you've been doing this in total, but I'm sure that there are plenty of people in the chat right now who at the beginning of listening to you had completely different views on certain topics. And because you've talked through them and had the shows that you've had can align more now than they might have done in the beginning. And sometimes in your lifetime, you don't get to see the fruits of that labor. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand how it sounds. I
Might.
understand how you would think that, but okay, I'll give you an example. Do you know when the first men's rights group started?
I don't, but I would love to.
100 years ago.
Okay.
So how is
That's
that
sad.
gone? Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah.
and pros changing perspectives and enlightening people. That doesn't enlightening someone doesn't always have to involve giving them hope. I think that's kind of what you're conflating. Understand what I'm saying? Like Pro has changed perspectives, and she's giving people essential knowledge, but like you don't have to be hopeful when you get new knowledge. You just have to be able to make a better decision. So I wouldn't just automatically associate new knowledge with hope. And I think that's one of the mistakes that you're making.
It may not have essentially be providing them with hope, but it's just like when someone goes to. Is there certain words we can't use, like the like priz? Like, can we say that? I know so many platforms are weird about
not corn, if that's what you're saying, but
no. Like priz, like when people go get sent to become felons. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, you can say that.
You can say prison.
Okay, so it's like when someone goes to prison and then they get out of prison and they change their lives around and they start mentoring others and they have conversations with them and they show them their actions. That gives them hope that even though I lived this life, I have a chance. And even though they might not make every single choice the proper way, they still feel like they have hope towards something better, and that at least will give them a little bit of momentum to progress further. And maybe when they do finally progress further, because they genuinely feel like they have options, they will teach someone else, and they will the next person, and it'll just go down the line.
I don't know what the prisoner has to do with the society-wide example. So again, I'm not talking about. Let me finish. I'm not talking about my individual life. I'm not even talking about individual listeners. Mm-hmm. But I do not have the power to change trends. I don't. And any YouTuber that's selling you that, they're selling you guys hope. And I'm the one that's being honest. And you don't know, unless you're a YouTuber or work in the industry, you don't know. You have no idea. And I've been in the field. I've interviewed the people, and I'm telling you, YouTubers do not. If you want to rely on what changes policy is money, and women have 80% of it, so there's no incentive for any of the policies to change or the decision making to change.
And also, I'm going to talk about your prison example. I did an internship in undergrad where I would speak to young men that were in juvenile hall, and the starting point wasn't, oh, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer one day. It's going to be, how about you not come back here? How about that? Incarceration should be a successful deterrent from you committing other crimes. Don't come back here is the starting point. When you have people that come from certain backgrounds or make certain choices, one of the worst things you can do, I think, is try to tell them that, oh, you're going to be a doctor one day. No, you're not.
You don't have to
no, you're not.
by telling them they're going to be a doctor. You can just tell them that they have options never other than committing crimes and going back to prison. It doesn't need to be.
The option is
like you're going to be the president.
The option is you don't want to be back in here.
But why do they feel morally motivated just not to go back to prison, especially if they've gone multiple times? That might become a norm to them. More than anything, wouldn't you say that it's like if you embedded in them morally that that's not the person that they want to be, then they have a moral grounding for why they shouldn't go back to prison rather than you just don't want to be here. No, it's because that's not the person I want to be, and because I have those morals to stay away from a place like this, I'll find better. So I have the hope, not because you sold me the hope, but because you told me the reality that there's a possibility for me to do better. And this is not the person I want to be.
Do you know what the best predictor of future behavior is?
Is past.
Yeah. So I even think having any hope for these criminals is like, I've dealt with people with addiction, with whatever. Oh my God, if you have any hope for them, I had a cousin that was out of jail all the time. And
once again,
if we had hope that he wouldn't come back, it would have destroyed us. Oh my God, no.
And also, it's about, once again, it's about steps. You gotta talk to you gotta talk to people where they're at. Okay, and therefore I would say, I'd make them realize what they did to get in here and help them figure out steps as to how they're not gonna end up in here again. Because being in prison is stupid. Your whole life is going to go by and you're going to be in this box.
A person who doesn't value their life, why would they care about that?
Why would they care about being a doctor or a lawyer or
but
changing
that's
the
what I'm
world?
saying. You don't say, hey, you made it out of prison. Guess what? You can become a doctor. It's not like that. It's more so like they need to have something morally grounded and a value for their own life. So just telling them like it's stupid for you to want to come back here because you're going to spend your life here. If they don't value themselves enough to care about going there in the first place, like the average person, you don't need to go to prison to know you don't want to be there.
Oh,
But
you'd be surprised.
Have you
You'd be
ever
surprised.
spoken to a criminal before?
I have.
How many have you spoken to?
Oh,
Because I don't think you've talked to many. You sound a little too optimistic to have that conversation.
No. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I do a lot of talks with people on TikTok too. Definitely not as many as probably you.
Of course, TikTok. Okay.
TikTok, because of course a lot of criminals would probably be there, wasting their time or doing whatever they're doing.
TikTok, but like real life conversations, interacting with them.
Yeah, I have. Someone that I know that I've known for 15 years, they had a very, very difficult life, and watching them and their partner who really struggles to live a different life, and this person who's chosen to live their life completely different and stick with it, and is now just kind of struggling to reintegrate into another level of reintegration. Them, yes, I've seen their path. I've asked them a lot of questions about it, because when I was younger, I used to be like, why would you even do something like that would put you in jail? That's stupid. But if you don't value your own life, you're kind of like, you don't care. You're at the wheel of the car just driving insane because you don't care.
Your answers, I'd like to believe you, but I'm a little skeptical based on your answers.
And Pearl, I would love you to. I'd love for you to speak to this person if you'd like to. I could ask them at some point.
I don't care.
I know you don't care, Pearl.
I don't.
But I'm just saying, like, hope is not a bad thing. I don't think selling hope is a good thing. Like, you shouldn't be marketing like hope in that way. But it definitely is, like, if you're honest about things and you have conversations with people, it may not get every single person, but the ones you can get, it matters.
Yeah, okay. But I still would say that you're not discounting my original point, which is society, the trend of society. But it's like you keep bringing up individuals.
Yeah, and also Pro's audience is men, and one of the biggest differences between Pro's viewpoint and yours, Kiana, is you sound like you talk to a lot of women.
No.
And you have that female optimistic. Men can't afford to live life how you're talking. We just can't do it. Like, that'll lead the type of hope that you want there to be has led men to get their children taken away from them. So we just can't have that over there.
I'm not talking about delusion. It could be a small goal. If a person comes out of prison and you said on a macro scale.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Like,
I was just thinking that type of nagging is what drives men to suicide.
Call it another time, Kiana. But it's been like 15 minutes of this hope strategy that you're talking about. Go to your TikTok followers. We're not them. So make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. And we're going to have to sum it up to
Naked says I have a good answer for this. Feel free to call in. And guys, I'm going to make a new rule based on this one. Don't overtalk me. Like, this one's tough because I really am not a yeller. I really like to keep things light. But I get pretty irritated if you call into my show and you keep trying to overtalk me. I just find it annoying. So I'm gonna give you guys one warning, and then we're just gonna kick you. So
yeah,
go ahead.
That was the first person I had to boot ass out of my head. Sorry. Okay, so we're gonna bring up Shiv. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Hey, Shiv. So why should I have hope? Tell me.
Well, there's going to be all these like AI, boyfriends out there, and you're going to just be able to talk to a computer. It'll be all of our relationships will all be digital, and a computer is not going to, screw up. So Yeah, I just think,
ChatGPT can be our boyfriend.
just accept our robot AI overlords, and life will be great.
Sure. What
Yeah,
else?
But I mean, the truth is outside of that. Like, honestly, that's the only thing I think there's hope for. I don't think there's hope in normal human relationship.
We're gonna have a really cool Pearl University. Sign up, guys. Pearlinvite.com.
Yep. Well, yeah, but that's really it. It's. I mean, the craziest thing too is I was talking with so I don't know if you know this, but when people get to their second or third divorce, the numbers keep going higher at divorce rate. So it's like that's kind of crazy to me that like people get married again, and like the third marriage, it's like 74% the divorce rate on the third marriage, and people still do it. It's kind of a miracle.
Men are the true romantics, really.
No, we're the ones that have hope. I don't know why, but we do. It's kind of crazy. We're just so we're so positive no matter everything being against us. It's kind of
Hey, and there's ways that you can thrive. Like you can max out your Hinge profile and bang some baddies this month.
Yeah.
There's ways. You go ahead.
I had a about to say this. I was in Vegas for the last 30 days, and yeah, it was great. And I had a new wife every day.
So why have one wife? You could have a rotation.
That's what I'm saying.
And this is it doesn't mean you have to be sorrow and like cry about it. It just means you got to manage your expectations. Like Shiv, if you get married tomorrow, you can expect to be a single dad in your 40s. That'll be fun for you.
But then I'll have my entire rest of my life after that point. So sounds great.
Yeah.
Well,